The Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta concluded a few days ago. There was also another beta which came about a week before, and I got to experience some of that. The only game modes that were available was Team Deathmatch, Domination, Headquarters, and Ground War, which only came in the second beta, and there was only a few maps, and most of the weapons and kill streaks were there, and my overall opinion is, hesitantly I should say, it's okay. I mean, it's going to be definitely different. I know a lot of the Call of Duty community isn't too crazy about the experience just because of how different it is, a departure from games like Black Ops 4, but I mean, I think that this is the right step forward for the franchise, and definitely is borrowing elements from Battlefield and Rainbow Six Siege, and I will say that Battlefield may want to watch out, because that Ground War mode, it was pretty fun, and definitely is very similar to the Conquest mode, and I know that the Battlefield fan base is not in a good place right now, just because of the support for Battlefield 5, so Electronic Arts may want to watch out. But the thing is with Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I just can't get excited, because of the fact that I know what's ahead. The Activision BS, which is ruined games like Black Ops 4, and it still plagues it to this day. And the thing is, moving forward, this is just how it has to be with all of the Call of Duty releases or anything under Activision. I just expect nonsense, and we're going to be discussing that today, which includes an exclusivity deal which was announced, which is not going over well within the Modern Warfare community. Additionally, Activision has been caught stealing artwork, and there have been some leaks on some of the post-launch monetization BS which is ahead, and unfortunately it is predatory loot boxes. But as usual, before we get into all of that, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for more gaming news like this, and also turn notifications on so you do not miss out on any new videos. Nonetheless, we're going to start with the PlayStation 4 exclusivity deal, which we probably all should have expected, but this report coming from Eurogamer says Call of Duty Modern Warfare in the firing line over year-long PS4 exclusivity for Spec Ops Survival Mode. Cease fire. Modern Warfare Spec Ops Survival Mode is a timed PlayStation 4 exclusive Activision has revealed. And how this was revealed was in the story trailer which came yesterday. And if you look at the bottom, it's late in the trailer, it says timed exclusive content until October 1st, 2020. So yes, a full year of exclusivity for a big feature of this new Modern Warfare installment. It's also worth mentioning that the Call of Duty cycle is 1 year, so the fact that this feature is not going to be available for 1 year just means that Xbox One and PC players, this feature is just basically gone. Thus far, which isn't really surprising, Activision has been very quiet on what the monetization plans will be for Modern Warfare. What they did say, as this report outlines, Activision said most Call of Duty Modern Warfare post-launch content would release simultaneously across all platforms, but PS4 players would get an exciting day one advantage, and they asked the question, is this Spec Ops mode it? And we honestly don't know at this point. And honestly, I would not be surprised that there is some other nonsense to come, but we'll wait until that gets announced and people go angry again. See, the thing is, a few months ago when it was announced that Modern Warfare would not be having a season pass, I saw a lot of the Call of Duty community, YouTubers, streamers, games media praising the decision made by Activision. Activision's finally listening to us. The bold statements coming from influencers that I don't buy any of that nonsense anymore, because it always gets worse, and it's like people just ignore the past, and especially with what's happened with Black Ops 4, that's not something that's just Treyarch related. It's up the ladder, it's up with Activision executives, and they're getting greedier, and it's only going to get worse, people. And I hate having to say that, but every single time I make a video like this, I see people trying to be cautious. There's no reason to be cautious anymore. It's just going to be bullshit. That's exactly that's what needs to be said, and we're already seeing it with Modern Warfare. But yes, no season pass. They're going to make up that money in other areas, and one way they're going to do that is with exclusivity. Of course, there's not going to be the fracturing of players. That's definitely something that hurt the Call of Duty franchise, but let's not forget, there was the season pass, and then with Black Ops 4, they made it that you could not purchase single map packs. You had to buy the season pass, $60, and that didn't work too well for the Black Ops 4 player base, so that's why Activision ultimately got rid of it. Even though much of this gaming industry has already gotten rid of season passes, Activision was going to continue forward. It's just that it hurt Black Ops 4, and they don't want that to be the same case with Modern Warfare, because it hurts sales on macrotransactions. microtransactions. Remember people, I'm not using that word microtransactions anymore. Nothing micro about the transactions in any of these Call of Duty games anymore, or any of these games, period. But the thing is, let me get back on point with this Spec Ops deal, exclusivity deal. It may be that Activision and Infinity Ward aren't exactly being very truthful, and I say that because there's been some leaks that indicate they lying. So let's go to this article from Charlie Intel, one of the biggest Call of Duty websites out there. They said, Infinity Ward developer survival mode is just a sliver of Spec Ops, says decision was made above our pay grades. There's been a lot of conversation after Activision and PlayStation announced that the survival mode of the Spec Ops mode and Call of Duty Modern Warfare will be timed exclusive on PlayStation 4 for 1 year. Many players reacted negatively, with some even canceling their pre-orders. Good job, people. Infinity Ward studio narrative director Taylor Croassi, I can't say that, I'm just gonna move on, responded on Twitter to some fans stating that the survival mode is just a sliver of the Spec Ops experience. You can play Spec Ops in every new bit of content we drop day one. The only timed exclusivity is survival, which is a sliver of Spec Ops. And then he continues in another tweet, up to you if you don't want to play the game. I think that's what the tweet was saying, or the person he's responding to. I respect your decision. We do our best every day to give our players the best experience possible. There are decisions that are above all of our pay grades that have to be considered. I understand your feelings, but this is much better than others I have seen. And here we get to the part where I believe that he is lying. He responds to somebody saying, this game has so much potential, but the thing is about exclusives and people paying $60 only to have to wait to play the content they paid for is sickening. Look, you're a really good person and I know you can't do certain things behind the scenes, but Activision is ruining your game. And Taylor responds with, let's be honest, ruining is an exaggeration. We'll see about that in a few months, Taylor. It ruined Black Ops 4. Let's not act like there's not a track record for all of this. Survival is 1% of the game. The other 99% is simultaneous, day and date across all platforms. I'd rather have everyone playing 99% of the content at the same time than 100% of the content sometime later. And I get that, but the thing is, he's not telling the truth. The Gaming Revolution, a big YouTuber, he's also leaked tons of Call of Duty Modern Warfare information. I mean, almost this entire game has been leaked by this guy, and he refuted what he said, or what Taylor said. Survival makes up 50% of Spec Ops, with the missions being the other 50%. There's 3 game modes at launch: campaign, multiplayer, and co-op. So 1/6, 16.6% of the game is PlayStation 4 exclusive content. Spec Ops isn't just a measly add-on, and that's always been the case, even though I don't know if it always had the interest. Like the original Modern Warfare series, there was multiplayer, there was campaign, then there was Spec Ops, although the only time I personally played Spec Ops was when there was an outage or something like that. And the Gaming Revolution continues saying, from my sources, realistically it makes up about 1/10 of the game since multiplayer has the most content, but it's nowhere near 1%. Maybe it took 1% of developer time to make since they just reused stuff and it was last second, but it'll be by no means 1% of the full game's content. So yes, Infinity Ward developers already starting off not exactly telling the truth, it seems. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, this is the same crap that happened with Treyarch developers before Black Ops 4 released, and pretty much the only thing that these developers responded with when they were called out for lying, well, these decisions were made above our pay grade, exactly what Infinity Ward's narrative designer is saying here. And for what it's worth, a few months ago, Kotaku released their inside report on the development of Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and they talked about the monetization BS that happens behind the scenes and how the developers have zero control. Jason Schreier reporting, in the months following Black Ops 4 release, Call of Duty players grew frustrated with the gradual implementation of macrotransactions and loot boxes, and some Treyarch developers said they felt that pain. In interviews, many said they were just as frustrated with publisher Activision's never-ending quest for increased revenue, and they were frustrated with the lack of influence they had on it. It makes you wonder where all this money goes. Obviously, it's not to Volt employees. One of the most common complaints I heard from lower-level Treyarch staffers was that despite putting in night after night and weekend after weekend, they were rarely allowed to offer creative input on the game. Yes, the Activision executives have full control over the full show, people. These developers have zero say, and all they can do is try to downplay concerns, when in reality they know what's coming, and they know there's going to be a lot of outrage and concern, but they have to sell a game. It's their job. Like, it was actually just a few weeks ago when Infinity Ward developers were speaking to Game Informer, I believe, and they were very vague about the macro transaction system that will be in place place with Modern Warfare. All they said was that they were thinking about players and going to be player first, or they were going to have a player forward system. And what they mean by that is it's going to be an Activision making lots of money system. And I mean, the gaming revolution has already been leaking some of the plans that are ahead. He reported, I believe it was just last night, who wants 300 plus emotes and supply drops? Who wants 500 plus titles? Who wants over 200 sprays and supply drops? Yay! Weapons are coming too, forget any cosmetic only malarkey. They're literally changing so much. They had a fair system in place with salvage and then they just removed it. I hope something changes by release, I swear. This is such a disservice to the developers who have worked so hard on the game. Not everyone wants all of this. So yes, it looks like they're starting off those loot boxes day one, and yes, there's going to be weapons. There's been some reports that the ACR weapons from the Modern Warfare franchise, I would assume weapons like the UMP-45, the Intervention, they're probably going to come later on within those loot boxes, and people are going to hate it, but the truth is, Activision, they're not hurting at all. All the backlash and outrage with Black Ops 4, they've ignored it, and actually they spun it to investors that the community is actually enjoying this crap. I'm not even lying, this is a report coming from Charlie Intel last month. Activision, they're talking to investors at a conference call, said that the communities are embracing the new in-game content for Call of Duty, and that they are excited for what's coming to the game. I can't even take this seriously, people. Throughout the call, the executives touted how the in-game model is increasing the revenue to their surprise, and that they're looking forward to bringing out more content more often to fans to keep them engaged. And what that means is more stickers, more guns, and more crap in the loot boxes. Because the loot boxes, the RNG, it makes tons of money. And that's all they need. They need growth, and they're going to get that with this Modern Warfare franchise. I mean, I saw a lot of outrage with Black Ops 4. People were so angry about the greedy pay-to-win weapons, and yes, those weapons were pay-to-win in Black Ops 4. Some of them were like one-shot kill until they got buffed. But it's ridiculous, but the truth is, until the Call of Duty fanbase actually stands up and finally boycotts and starts hurting the bottom line of Activision, it's not going to stop. And furthermore, with all of this Activision and Modern Warfare nonsense, they actually they're being accused of illegally stealing another company's picture for their promotional art for Modern Warfare. This comes from Black Powder Red Earth, and they took to Instagram saying, "It has come to our attention that the latest Call of Duty game featured a reproduction of one of our photos for Bravo Company USA. This is a completely unauthorized use of our art. Thank you for bringing it to our attention." And if you look at the side-by-side, it's pretty clear that somebody at Activision, maybe a developer from Infinity Ward, they got lazy and copy and pasted pretty much. And all I can say is that attorneys are probably going to be contacting Activision very soon. Maybe a lawsuit, probably a cease and desist, but very lazy. And I know a lot of people are commenting on this Instagram post saying, get some money from Activision for what they just did. I don't know how long this promotional image has been going around, but yes, Activision, again, in some legal trouble with this. It was only about 7 months ago where WWE wrestler Booker T sued Activision for stealing his alter ego with a Black Ops 4 character. I believe the character was called Prophet, and he alleges that they stole a comic book character which is known as G.I. Bro, and I will say that there are some similarities there. But again, here is another case of Activision potentially stealing artwork, or in this case it's more blatant and it just looks like a copy and paste by a lazy artist. Anyway, to try to wrap this video up, what I can say right now is that Modern Warfare, it's only going to get worse, and it's not stopping the predatory loot boxes and all the other nonsense, probably the battle pass operations and such. Actually, there probably will be operators. That's something that I noticed in the beta, there being operators. And yes, Modern Warfare, as GamesIndustry.biz, in their opinion piece, they noted, Modern Warfare looks like it will ape Rainbow Six Siege's model of selling operators, a model that has kept Ubisoft's game going for 4 years, and yes, that is likely coming next for Modern Warfare, and it will be very interesting to see if there's any exclusivity with that, because, you know, I just don't put it past Activision anymore. But thus far, with the Spec Ops thing, as I've pointed out throughout this video, the community is not happy. Looking at the Reddit post on the Modern Warfare subreddit, the reaction, here's some of the top comments. An entire year though? Seriously? What's even the point? Well, to make the PlayStation 4 version seem more desirable. Another user saying, this is just horrible and I'm on PlayStation 4. F Activision, F Sony, and F exclusivity. Why should PS4 get more of the game for pretty much all its cycle than the rest of us? Is there any level of backlash that could cause the decision to be reverted? Because the hugest crapstorm possible is absolutely something that we need right now, and that's very true. Shadow King 78, you are right on it. Day of Revenge says this is straight up BS. Modern Warfare 3 survival mode was one of the best parts of the entire game, and now it's console exclusive. Why do we all get F straight up the arse? I think to see the hefty amount of money that Sony paid for that crap move. You guys know we really don't have to tolerate crap like this, right? Cancel your pre-orders and refuse to buy until something is changed. It went from 1 month to 1 week to 1 year. Also, this is not it. There will definitely be pay-to-win weapons locked behind slot machines a few weeks after launch, thinking they'll change their ways after Black Ops 4 is naive. Ding 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 ding, we have a winner for, well, it's spot on. I mean, Activision has to show growth, and they're relying more than ever on the Call of Duty franchise with Destiny gone, and them really not having any IP. So yes, Black Ops 4 was just the beginning, and Modern Warfare, there's going to be all kinds of new nonsense that people have just been drafting up. You remember that patent a few years ago? Keep an eye on that. But to give my full perspective and opinion on all of this greed that is already happening with Modern Warfare, I think that this Charlie Intel article written a while ago sums it up perfectly. Activision says macrotransaction revenue for Black Ops 4 are higher than that of Call of Duty World War II. Until the bottom line gets hurt, and until Activision actually starts hurting from all their monetization bullshit that they keep pulling, nothing's going to change. And with Modern Warfare, this is just the beginning, people. It's going to get worse, and there's going to be a lot of anger, but until people actually boycott and stop buying this crap, gonna get worse. And that's all I really can say right now about Modern Warfare. It looks like it's going to be an enjoyable experience for many people, but a few months after launch, it'll be ruined, and yes, the reviews will be written, millions of copies will be sold until they start getting worse and worse with the monetization, because that's just something that has worked, and it's made Activision billions upon billions of dollars. Anyway, what is your thoughts on Activision announcing an exclusivity deal for Modern Warfare, and also what's your thoughts on the monetization plans that are ahead? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value. Make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get into video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.